Hi guys, thanks for joining us again for another race. Here we are on starting line with Carolyn, Brendan and Tats. All off to a good start, all together. Tats is just slightly off at the front now, but nothing to worry about. Brendan and Carolyn are just up ahead. Brendan smashing out 6 watts per kilo there. Carolyn 7. Almost catching on to the bees. Please make a note of Rob Me, John McKenna and Rob Taylor at this early part in the race. You'll see their names. Just keep an eye on them. Carolyn now and Brendan are all with the main pack at the front, so I'm informing them just to sort of sit in, draft now. Sadly, Tats is in the second group, but not that far behind. There he is, pushing 230-40 watts. But notice the pack he's with, Rob Taylor, McKenna. Just keep an eye on them, like I said, through the race now. So we go back shortly now to Carolyn and Brendan. 50 kilometers an hour, looking good. There's no problems now, apart from that. And now I decide to change my screen view. Still looking very good. Okay, we're coming up to the first sprint now. The one to worry about at the moment in this pack would be Rob Me. He's between Carolyn there and Brendan. He's the one to watch. He's the only threat here at the moment. Carolyn and Brendan are in contention for first, second or third place really. Coming up to the sprint now. And they take first for the ladies. Very good. I now tell them to draft. Try and chill a bit. Because there's a long way to go yet. You've got a few slight climbs here. Nothing to worry about though. So Carolyn just to do a 30-second effort. But if we notice now, this is where the race started to break up slightly. In this group with Carolyn and Tats alone. You've got Rob Taylor and McKenna still, 42 kilometers an hour. You just see the main pack just up ahead from them. Once we go back, here we go. We've got Carolyn and Brendan doing 23 kilometers an hour. Coming up to the first slight climb and coming up to the leg snapper. It all starts breaking up, but you've really not got any threats there apart from the Me, which is the one person I did say about Rob Me, just ahead of Carolyn there now. So really all you've got to do now is just pace yourself here. Which for some reason they kept trying to keep pushing for the B category group, which I don't really understand why, because it really didn't serve any purpose. Now you find Caroline's dropping off slightly. She's still without me though. Brendan's just up ahead. And this is where I told Caroline to do a 30-second push just to get over the top of the leg snapper. And then you've got quite a bit of recovery. Not really pushing there. And now you'll see Brendan's has eased slightly as well. Now the group has now been split and they've lost the main pack now, and with that robbed me. And this is where you'd be expecting to make up time now with Brendan in the front. 67 kilometers an hour coming down, but that group ahead is going so fast now, it's gone. The only chance they'll have now will be on the climb. So the best thing they can do now is keep Brendan on the front on the flat parts and keep the speed up. Tats at this point was about 11 seconds behind, if I remember rightly. I did tell them. I was hoping that they could join up with him. But 45 kilometers an hour. It's still a good pace now. There's always that chance that they could catch on again. Caroline there, I don't understand, is just not sitting in. She's on the side of Brendan, which is not helping really the speed. She's not drafting at all well there. Not like 2 meters behind. Too much on the side. May well be a steering, I don't know. But as you can see now, the speed's beginning to drop to 40 now, where it was 45, 39 now. We've got a slight incline coming up as well, which I'd hope to think that Caroline would take the lead just on that incline, push over it, and then Brendan get straight back onto the front on the climb and get that speed back up again. .38. .36, 35, it's just dropping. I think that was because Caroline just didn't push at all there over that climb, apart from that part, which was a little too late then. Should have been pushing way before that, about 5 seconds before, and even now not pushing, apart from now. But again, too late, and then eases off straight away. Should be off the front now, and Brendan should be on that front now. It's too long. 34 kilometers, it's too slow there. You'd safely say that front pack now is gone. Brendan now takes the lead, and the speed goes way up, 41 kilometers an hour, 42, 43, and as you can see it's going up and up and up. Sadly, it's a little too late again, so I keep pushing on. We come up to the roundabout now, which this road then slightly goes up to the start of the hill. I've informed them now that Tats is behind and should catch. I've also messaged Tats, just give a push to hopefully get on, because when you see Tats shortly, you will see he's not far behind. Which would have been good if they could have done a trio. because still at this point the only one in front of him is that Rob Me. Now Carolyn's on the front, speed has dropped to 36, not sure why she took the front so soon, because it killed the pace all off. Now Brendan's pushing forward, and the pace is dropping even more. 29, 28, 27, 26. Now here's Tats now at 38 kilometers an hour. They're just up ahead now, which is when I tell Tats to give a push. You can see Carolyn and Brendan just up ahead there. And 35 kilometers an hour, but if you look who he's with in that group, McKenna, Taylor, and we've got Carolyn and Brendan again now, 26, 27 kilometers an hour. I've informed them now the only one they need to worry about is Rob Me, who's ahead. They are now second and third place. All they've got to do now is just keep it paced, and obviously they both get podiums. The only ones behind him at the moment is B-Cat, Nupia, I think his name is, Samai, Alden, I think it is. So really not much threats coming up behind, only B-Cats. So, 10 kilometers an hour going up here is good. This is a good pace. Carolyn's 158 watts, 163 beats per minute. It's looking good. Still, just B-Cats behind. Brendan's on the front, pacing it, very good. To be honest, if the rest of the race had gone like this, it would have turned out fantastic. But for some reason it didn't. "13 kilometers, 12, is still a good pace coming up the hill. This is what you need to be doing at the start of this hill. You don't need to be going into it rushing and hammering it up there. Now we've got the 3 B-Cats, and just behind those B-Cats now is a C, which I think that is Tat's group. And this is where Carolyn, I don't know, got a bit anxious or panicky. But it absolutely turned out to be a bit of a disaster, and it was basically a downfall. But hopefully, looking at this video now, you'll see where it did go wrong. Okay, you've got a B-Cat there that's just gone past, so they're not a threat, so still keep pacing, keep turning it away. You've now got McKenna, who's pushing 4.1 behind, coming up with a B-Cat. And just as we bridge the top of this hill now, it drops down, and I did tell Carolyn to push, to stay in the draft and draft him, because you've got a B-Cat there and a C coming up together. You just see the B-Cat now. So you'll see Carolyn now push a bit here, where I told her to draft. And you only got a draft going down that hill just to stay with the pack. So here we go. Carolyn now is drafting, and Brendan's behind, which obviously with the weight, momentum's gonna bring him forward more. Now, you've got to keep pushing here, but not that much where you'll be fighting with B-cats, which is what happened. Carolyn now decides to push harder and try and stay with this group. There. And now Brendan gets dropped. Brendan now is pushing out 377 watts and trying to stay with Caroline, who is basically fighting with the B-cat because the C is already gone. And Tats is here now just behind this group. He's done a bit of a push here now, maybe 300, 350 watts could have caught on. Here we've got now Brendan and Carolyn, and Carolyn now is basically fighting with these B-cats. McKenna is off the front already. And there's McKenna. Carolyn now is just sitting with these B-cats who basically are doing their job at holding Carolyn back now. Which, you know, from Team SISU, that's their job. This little Tats is about 30 seconds behind still, not really pushing it there. Brendan 300 watts just to stay with this B group. Had Carolyn now eased, it could have turned out so much more different. But we've now got the gaps appearing. Understandably, Brendan now must be pretty much at his limit, 172 beats per minute. Carolyn, as you can see there, is now pushing even harder. And the B-cat now comes past Brendan. Tats 254 watts. Carolyn now decides to do 300 watts to try and stay with the B group and distance Brendan even more. Which I really don't understand why. McKenna, I believe, is 17 seconds ahead. Brendan now is 8 seconds behind Carolyn. There was no way Carolyn would have stayed with his B-cats all the way to the end, so I really don't know what Carolyn was thinking of. I did communicate to her to stop fighting with him and to hold for Brendan, but by then the damage is done. You can see Brendan way off there now in the back. We've got the two RTR riders behind, and Carolyn fighting with two B-cats. I really just don't understand it. Brendan now 27 meters off. I think it was probably about now I had told Carolyn to stop, because it was terrible. But she carried on pushing. And even if Carolyn had stayed with them all the way, it wouldn't have changed any results. But you could see she was never going to 173 beats per minute. But she decides to push even more again. And as you can see, the bees just say goodbye. Carolyn's heart rate now is 173, just slightly dropping. That's when I had told Carolyn enough, and she decides to drop then, but she claimed that she didn't have the communication. And pushes. You've now got Brendan 12 seconds off, and we've got Rob Taylor and M Van Delft, I think it is, who's with Brendan now. Rob Taylor being one of the threats as well. So we've now got Rodney, John McKenna ahead, followed by Carolyn, Brendan, Rob Taylor, and then Tats. And here goes the B-Cats, and they drop Carolyn there very easily. As she's decided now she's going to drop, but it's all too late. This now is a flat part, which is where Brendan would have been really very harmful. Sorry, not harmful. Would have been very appreciated, helpful. Claims that she didn't have no communication there, but then, as you did see, she was saying okay to me. But now Brendan is 14 seconds off. Carolyn's on a decline, and speed 19 kilometers an hour, which is very, very slow for that part. You can get up to speeds of 50. Now she's dropping to 10, and you'll just see Brendan in the distance there. She's easing now completely for Brendan, but at this time she's now bringing two C-Cats back to her, which is the Rob Taylor. M Van Delft, I don't think was on Swift Power, sorry. As you can see now, Rob Taylor though is drafting Brendan. Seven kilometers now from Carolyn. She would have been better, to be honest, at maybe just carry on now, because the race, to be honest, was just ruined. By doing this now, it's just bringing other riders back into the race, like Rob Taylor. Brendan was absolutely blown, I'm sure, at this point. Carolyn's heart rate is 162. So she wasn't going to win any races now if it came down to a sprint. Rodney there, I think, is 20 seconds ahead. So still catchable, I suppose. No, Brendan 5 seconds off, so there's a chance, but there's another flat section coming up here now, where if you've got Brendan on the front, you could make up a bit of time there. Does it happen? Rob Taylor has now pushed past Brendan and is now pushing for the place of 3rd place now. Carolyn now is dropping, and there goes 3rd, but Carolyn, instead of still waiting for Brendan now, which still would have been a help, she decides to chase this one down. And they leave Brendan even further behind after all of that. Again, don't see the point of it. Does not aid anybody. I don't understand why Carolyn waited all that time and just to chase this Rob. So now you've got Rob, me, John McKenna, and now Rob Taylor, and then Carolyn. Actually, I've waited for Brendan now on these flat sections because it's quite up and down around by here now. Would have been a lot faster than 18, I'm sure. And they both got steering, and it appears that Rob is trying to stop her from drafting, but then there is no draft here. So Brendan 10 seconds off, and now Rob decides to push again, which then forces Carolyn to. The one positive, I suppose, is that Rob Me was now getting closed in to 13 seconds. But there's Brendan at 12 kilometers an hour. You can just see him ahead. But you've got this little bit of a climb, and then it does flatten out a bit. So he would have been very, very helpful at the top of here. Very helpful. Tats is just about 3 kilometers, 6 kilometers behind Brendan. Sorry, 0.6. And Carolyn is 0.3 ahead. So they're all close by, so they would have really, really did much better by easing off, but they didn't. Instead, Carolyn pushed even more. And we can't say that was from a lack of communication. Rob Me now is obviously on Carolyn's mind, and she's thinking, I want to take him so she can get the podium. Rob Taylor is just behind as well. Now she's caught between obviously trying to fight off Rob Taylor now, who was brought back because she eased off for Brendan but then dropped him, and now chasing down Rob Me, who's just up ahead. And we've probably got, I think, about 12.4 About 1.4 kilometers to go. Rob me now is pushing out 4 watts per kilo. There was no way Carolyn was going to catch him now, no way. But sadly, because of the Rob Taylor incident and he's in for Brendan, it did let that Rob Taylor slip in between those two. Had they stayed together, it could have been a lot different. I mean, you've got flat parts here now, where Brendan would be so much more faster now. And you've got 24 kilometers an hour, 25, it'll probably pick up slightly, probably no more than 28, I'd say. Here now, you've got the chance to attack on this climb. Maybe a 1 minute big push, but it just doesn't happen. Brendan now, 14, 15, 16, creeping up, 18 kilometers, 19. Now Brendan is chasing down Rob Taylor. And in the background there, we've got another Seacat M Van Delft. Carolyn there is pushing out 4 watts per kilo. This is the final climb before it does completely drop. And then you've got the sprint home then. Brendan now needs to be hitting about 400 or 500 watts just on this final section. But I mean, at 176 beats per minute, it's just not going to happen, which is understandable. Get to the top. Speed should start picking up now. Needs to be mindful of that M Van Delft, who was 4 seconds behind him then. Carolyn now is still pushing, trying to chase down Army. Never going to catch him though, 11 seconds ahead. Around 172 beats per minute. .20 kilometers an hour, 244 watts, 4.1s. I don't know whether Carolyn was going for a personal best here or what, but it could have been so much better had they stuck together and not done what they did do by chasing those bees. I did tell Carolyn at the start to stay at 3.3 and never happened. I mean, now she's pushing 4.1s. Goes around the bend and then it's basically through the sprint banner. And it's a good time, but sadly it's only third place when it could have been the first place or second. McKenna went on to win, I'm sure, first place. Rob Me was second and Carolyn third. We drop back now to see Brendan coming home, 21 kilometers an hour. And this is where he'll pick up a lot of speed now. 28, 29, 30, 31. And you can imagine if this had been a trio or even Carolyn and Brendan, that would have been quite a pace and they could have slingshot it. It slows slightly here now because you've got a bit of an incline, but there you go. He's used the feather, which has come very handy. And now Tats. 21 kilometers an hour. Tats, in fairness, heart rate is looking very good, 150. 156 watts up, 170, 180 watts now. Are they going to stay there? No. 190 now. Can we have 200? Hey, we got 200. This is the final part of climb itself, so it drops down and goes around the bend and is home. We've got Carolyn there still saying that she had no communication, but I knew she did, and it wasn't too late. And there we go. That's at 33 kilometers an hour. Good speed. 290 watts now. 300. And that's the final part. So the finishing results for that was McKenna, me, Carolyn, Taylor, Brendan, and Tats. Well done, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Bye bye.